Hello everyone and welcome to SiddTechnolog. I'm your host Siddharth Chauhan, and in today's topic I'm going to show you how to install SSMS and also getting familiar with its interface. In my last video I've shown you how to install SQL Server 2017 on your desktop. Now when we install an instance we also need to manage it. How we can do that? So Microsoft has provided a very powerful tool which is known as SSMS. SSMS is short of SQL Server Management Studios. It is a very powerful unified client tool which helps in managing MS SQL Server infrastructure as well as help you do T-SQL development. SSMS was first is developed in .NET framework and was first introduced with SQL Server 2005, which was also the first version which got integrated with .NET framework. SSMS provided all the functionality of its predecessor, Enterprise Manager, and the query analyzer combined, and it provides much more functionality. In this PPT, I'm going to show you how to install SSMS version 18.3.1, which is the latest provided by Microsoft. Why I'm including it in PPT is because the installation is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is start the setup, download it and start the setup and click on the install button to install SSMS on your machine. That's it. Of course, you also have the option to change the location where you want to install it. Once you click on install, first it will load all the packages it will going to install, which comes with the installer, and then it will start installing all those packages. Once it is done, you will see a screen where it will show you that setup has been completed. You may also see a restart prompt. So for example, if you have done any kind of patching, if there is any dependent component which is on your system that needs a reboot, it will may ask for a reboot. Once done, to access SSMS, all you have to do is go to run and type SSMS, and after a splash screen you will see an interface like this. By default, when you open SSMS, you will be greeted by a prompt to connect to server. You have many options to connect to. For example, you can choose the authentication type, whether it be Windows authentication, it could be SQL Server authentication. When you choose Windows authentication, the username and password will be grayed out because it will going to run under the current user's security context. So it is showing my account. You can change to SQL Server authentication in case you want to do SQL authentication. I've seen many people getting confused here. Please note that you cannot provide something like this server name and user one, or maybe domain user one. You cannot provide this. This is purely for logins which are created at SQL's instance level. Apart from that, you also have options. If you click on options, you will see you can modify connection properties. For example, you can provide a default database name if you want to connect to a particular database directly once you are connected. You can also choose network protocols, name, pipe, share, memory, TCP, IP. You can even provide package size as per your network bandwidth. By default, it is 4096. Because SSMS, obviously it is again an application, and the SQL Server going to treat it as an application connection. You also have the options for connection timeout and execution timeouts. You can also choose to encrypt your connection or provide a server certificates trusted by a certificate. You can also have option to choose custom color. For example, if you are opening multiple SSMS, you can provide a different color if you're connecting to prod instances, and you can provide a different color to your SSMS when you're connected to pilot, so that it is easily identifiable where which instance you are connected to. Then you have tab for always encrypted. Now SQL Server provides an encryption level that comes directly from the application, so that's why SSMS also provides that functionality. Then you have a tab for additional connection parameters. For example, if you want to connect to your secondary of always on, you can provide like application intent equals to read only to connect to your secondary instance. Minimizing it, I'm using Windows authentication. Let me click on connect. When you click on connect, by default it will connect. It will, on the left hand side you will see the object explorer pane. In this pane you will see your instance you're connected to, which is very neatly arranged in a tree format so that it can clearly show all the objects in the level of their hierarchy. For example, databases are instance level objects, so they are coming directly under your instance name. Then there is there are many security objects which is related to your instance, for example logins or server level roles, so they are again coming under your instance. Then you have functionality like always on, you have objects like link servers, and you have things like your SQL Server logs. So all of them are instance level objects, so are coming under instance. When you want to access your database level objects, you click on databases and you will see these three folders: system databases, database snapshot, and your, and then a list of all your user databases will begin from here. So your system databases will come directly under the folder, like for example master model, MSDB and TempDB will come in the system databases, and your all user databases will be directly listed in the databases folder. Similarly, this tree form continues at even the database level. For example, you have tables. Table is a database object, you will see it under your database. You have views, and then you have your programming constructs like stored procedures, functions, types, etc. Then even you have things like storage in case you enable full text catalogs, you create full text catalogs, or you create partitions, you can access it from here. Then you will see the security folder. Now if you can see, there are two security folders. As I mentioned earlier, this is a tree format which is clearly showing the hierarchy which the objects belongs to. For example, when you click on the security here and you expand the security here, you see that you have option users, because at database levels we have user, whereas at server level we have logins. You will see only it is named as roles. This is because there are two type of roles, whether you can create a database role or application roles. So you have few database level roles, you have few database users as well. Then you have things like schemas, all listed under security, which is related to your database. So SSMS neatly arranges everything into a tree format for easy to access, and also it is clearly mentioned like which object belongs to which hierarchy level and under which kind of parent object. Now, apart from Object Explorer, there is something which is known as Object Explorer Details. You can access it either by going to view an Object Explorer Details, or as you can see the shortcut, if you click on F7, you can see the Object Explorer Details. What Object Explorer Details does is that, for example, if you click on any particular folder level, for example, if I click on databases, it will going to show you the content. Even without expanding, you will see the contents of this folder and few more details. For example, you don't even have to go into properties of a database. You can simply see that it is in simple recovery model, the compatibility is set to 140, and its owner is a SQL login which is named as user login 1. You can also see the collision which is set for this. In case it would have been in always on, you can also see the synchronization state for that. So if you ask me what is the advantage of Object Explorer Details, the advantage is that you can, the best advantage is that you can do multiple multi select, which you cannot do from Object Explorer Details. Sorry, Object Explorer. You can do multi select at Object Explorer Details. The first advantage, of course, I have already shown that you can get much more details without even going into that folder level. The main disadvantage, however, is the same thing, that for example, if you have many databases, small databases in your instance, it will start populating all the details which you might not need at the time of management. Uh, so that's why they have given you option that you, when you want, you can call it, or you may directly skip it. Because what happens is that, for example, if you go into your user database and it, let's say it has hundreds of tables, it will take, the GUI will going to fire a separate query to get all list of all the tables, and the GUI will again have to populate. So there will be a network flow, memory usage and stuff like that, which may tend to slow down GUI. And if there is a heavy thing which is going on, the GUI may even not populate. So that is one of the disadvantage of object explorer details. But again, depending upon the usage, when you are managing, you can know when and when not to use it. Similarly, you, apart from this, you can directly, you see that there are many more. When you right click at instance level, you will see many more options here. For example, in this category, you will see that you can directly stop, start and restart your services. You will also get this option at agent level. Then you also have option to go into properties, where you will see the instant level properties and you can manage them as well. Many of those options are related to your configuration sp configure, which is exposed by sp configure, or you can change from here. Similarly, you will get your database level properties. If you click on, right click on your database, go to properties, so you will see many actions which are related to any particular object, any particular instance, database, or maybe even the folder category. For example, when you right click on the databases folder, you will get option like to create a new database, you can attach your database, you can restore your database. So the option related to databases you can directly see from here, and it is very easy to use or create a database. Like right click on databases, just select new database, provide your name and get the database created. For example, test tv2, I can provide the owner. If you just click on OK and you're good to go. That's it. You don't have to choose anything. Again, you always has option to change everything. From when you go to properties, you can change all the necessary options you want to change for this database by going to its properties. Then again, when you right click on your database, you get option related to your database. When you right click on security, you get option related to security. For example, you can create your login, you can create a server role, you can create a credential. So each object, each folder expose a different kind of functionality which you can directly access by right clicking on it. Like if you want to create a new job, just right click on the SQL Server agent, or maybe even on the job level, you can directly see it exposes. So if it has many more functionality, you will see kind of a list there. Else you will directly, like in the jobs folder, you can directly just create a new job, or maybe manage existing schedules. You can manage it from here. Apart from this, there is something functionality which is known as the activity monitor. So what does activity monitor do is that it provides a system level overview on what is going on at your server level quickly, like processors, IO usage, processor usage, or resource weights. You can directly access from here. Apart from this, there are few more tools which is still provided, like SQL Server Profiler. Although this has been deprecated, you should not be using it. Like from 2012, when extended events have been called, like here you can see that extended events is directly available in the instance level, whereas this is a SQL Server Profiler is a separate tool. Similarly, it is a tool, database engine tuning advisor. It has been there for a long time. Then there is something called as Azure Data Studio to manage your Azure instances. There are some external links as well. For example, if you click on SQL Server Assessment, it will take you to the data migration assistant download page where you can download it and it will help you to migrate your data. Similarly, when you go to tools and click on migrate as SQL Server Azure, it will take you a page where you can see all the links related to how to or tutorials where you can see where you can learn how to move uh, your on-prem database to your Azure instance or maybe to your Azure server, stuff like that. I would like to also cover functionality which is like, for example, T-SQL. Now this is what all have been related to management or administration. So when it comes to development, so when you click on new query, it will open a new query. You can see here. So for example, this is the fifth query instance I have opened. So it will going to show me SQL query 5. So number of times you hit the new query, it will come up with a new number of SQL query. Now there are multiple options. For example, if you click on the instance level and click on new query, it will going to open up in the default database uh, for your login. Whereas if you want, you can directly right click, you can directly click on the database you want to open a query to and click on new query. It will directly open a connection to that database. Now there are few more details which is exposed at a new query level. For example, you if you hover your mouse over here, it will show you the that it is SQL query 6, the connection, the server name, and the user it has used. However, you can see it in more details here in the at the end that it is connected to one instance out of one. So and the server it is connected to, the version it is for, like for example it is 2017, so it is 14.0 and it is retail, so RTM edition. We have not applied any CU. The connection it has used, the your login name and the session ID. This number 58 is session ID. Then the database you are connected to. The last two columns are in case you execute any query, it will show you the time the query has taken, how much time it has taken to execute, and how many rows it has written. For example, if you simply type select star from sys dot objects and click on execute or hit F5, you will see that it executed in less than a second and it has returned me 97 rows. You can see even over here there are 97 rows. So obviously, like in new query, you can do all kind of programming uh, for your anything, like whether it be stored procedure or a view, or even what you can do is that, for example, if you right click on a stored procedure and click on a new stored procedure, it will going to give you a very good template to start off with. For example, you can the things which you should always include when you are creating an SP, for example, the author, the create date, the usage of this stored procedure, how you can call it, things like that. When you are using a parameters, how you can define your parameters, and something like set no count on. This was by default should be included. We can cover it in more details in later on, like set no count on. In case you it what it does is that it will not fetch how many rows are actioned by your particular query. So this is how you SSMS helps developers in doing programming for their T-SQL programming for their databases. So this is all, folks. This is a very quick overview of SSMS. This will help you. This is not an kind of exhaustive coverage because that will be very long. So but this will still give you a very fair enough idea on how to start off, how what is SSMS, how to start off, how it shows the things. For example, it shows it in a very clear hierarchical format where you can see all your objects depending upon their where you can find them and how they should be listed. So and how you can do T-SQL development, how you can identify where on which server, on which database you're executing your query, so you can be double sure before executing your queries. And also help you create template. By default SSMS helps you provide a template to start off with the programming structs like stored procedures or functions. So that's it guys. Please hit like button if you like my video, and also do not forget to click on subscribe button to remain updated on my latest posted videos. Thanks for joining in. Have a nice day.